$WARD nigga. NAYIMED.
Welcome if you're new. Welcome back if you're returning. My name is Nayim. I'm your host, and today we are here to discuss Boosie and everything surrounding this firearm case that he just pled guilty to, and he is more than likely probably going to have to go do some time for that. You know, a long time ago, I talked about why Boosie was never going to get his gun rights back because he missed that window of when he had just got out of prison and he was doing good and he was just working and it wasn't nothing negative on his name and it wasn't nothing foolish attached to him. And he was able to move out of Louisiana and go to Georgia, Atlanta, I believe that's where he moved to. That was the window of opportunity he had to get all his paperwork together, get his petition together so he could get his gun rights back because he was absolutely eligible, especially being found, I believe, not guilty or he was acquitted. Either way, he was not found guilty on any charges that would have prevented him from being able to get his firearm rights restored. And that is in all 50 states. You know, if we go back and we retrace our steps while looking at Boosie and this gun and this whole situation, if we just start with the Instagram live, you know, Boosie suffers from what a lot of people his age suffer, and really a lot of people in general. I would argue most people that come from his walk of life and come from the places that he come from and the places that a lot of us come from, where people think that keeping it real only has a certain type of definition. You can't be real if you go and you pay somebody to be security for you. You can't be real if you actually care about living and you actually care about being free and you actually care about your family. So you think about the silly decisions. You can't be real if you decide that the people around you are not people of good character, people of good judgment, and they could land you in more trouble than you would be in if you didn't have them. We suffer from that. A lot of us do. And what makes this situation so much more ridiculous, I would say, but more intense, is the fact that Boosie, I feel like Boosie teeters on this thing of like wanting to do better and knowing better versus fighting with who his image is and fighting with his reputation and fighting with the unresolved traumas and all the issues that he had from, you know, the people turning on him in his life, family members stealing from him, people using him and all of that. So when we get this situation where he was at, I think it was a video shoot, please don't quote me on that, but he was somewhere, I think it was California too, don't quote me on that either, but he was somewhere with a video shoot and somebody had their phone up and was Instagram living him and the whole situation. He had his back turned and his shirt was up and there was what they said was a firearm, a real firearm, tucked back behind him. And obviously he's a convicted felon that did not get his rights restored back. And again, if you are a convicted felon, you can get your rights restored back for most reasons. You just have to take the time out to do it. It probably take you 3 to 6 months to get all that together. You know, they were recording him from the back and showing that he had a firearm and he didn't know this until after, you know, now the law is coming down and coming to get him. The problem, if we're just dealing with that part first, is we're going to go through all of this. The problem with that is people being so thirsty to be around a celebrity, people being so thirsty to be around a person of status. And I don't want to say that it's not a setup, but I don't want to say that it's fully a setup. But what I can say is, why would you, being a person that's being around Boosie, probably doing some type of business, you know what type of person Boosie is, you know what kind of problems could come with, you know what problems come with Boosie in general, but you know what problems come with having a firearm and being a felon, especially if he's going into him being a neutral party, being that he's not a part of any groups, he's not a part of any gangs, he, you know, call himself the boss man, and we'll get to that part too, but doing things that, let me make sure this junk ain't start recording, because last time, boy, I'm telling you, I did the whole dang video and that thing cut off. But you know what kind of problems come with Boosie? You would think that dealing with the party itself, I don't want to put Boosie in any type of compromising situations, because this is a kind of way that can, even if we can argue about if it will boost you or if it won't, it will definitely boost whoever these people were in their area. He came here to do business. These people are spending their money. I don't want to put him in any type of situations that could be legal, whether he is right or he is wrong. And this is where we have to really start vetting the people around us and vetting what people are doing and controlling the room and controlling the situation, because Boosie should have never been on camera. Whether the gun was real or the gun was a prop, he shouldn't have been seen with something that could be even misunderstood as a real firearm. Whether they came down the line and found the firearm later and Boosie just took the charge or not, everybody who was doing business with Boosie and anybody who was doing business in that vicinity should have already known. I don't want to mess up the person that's I'm investing my bag in. I don't want to put myself in this kind of situation, because now what the other party has done, and I don't know who the people he was around was, but now what they have done is put themselves in a situation where nobody's going to want to come over there and do business. Nobody's going to want to come over there and work with any of your artists. Nobody's going to want to come over there because y'all have made yourselves pariahs. I.e., yes, Boosie and other rappers and other entertainers and people on the come up can be doing wrong. We know everybody do wrong. That's not a secret. The problem is, if I know I'm going to be doing wrong, I'm not going over somewhere where it's going to be hot. I'm not going over somewhere where people are secretly recording and putting me all over the internet and putting me in these compromising situations, even though I'm wrong. I don't need basically you ratting and you snitching and you showing everything off online for somebody can say, hey, these people over here doing this. And that just creates this domino effect where if people got stuff going on and all the stuff that come with when you doing the wrong outside, man. What I really want to deal with this is the fact that, yes, Boosie needs to have some discernment, but it comes a time where you have to operate yourself as a grown adult and as a business. Boosie is too rich and too accomplished to be moving around like that if he don't have his stuff together. My ear is itching so bad. I am so sorry. He's too rich, too established, got too much going on to even still be dealing with these kind of situations, to even still be moving around with these kind of people. At some point in your life, you have to just take a step back and be like, you know what? I want to live. I want to really be free, because somebody that's going on 50 years old don't have no business going to prison. Somebody that's about to be 50 years old don't have no business taking no plea deal about nothing. And I see a lot of people talking about, oh, they just want to bring him down because he building all these houses for his family. He got no. That's one of the problems that we deal with in this community, where y'all don't want people, y'all want to make excuses for what people do and their behavior because you like them. Boosie was wrong. Boosie was rich. He wasn't rich when he came home, but he was able to be at zero and work his way back up off his name, off his work ethic, off of him being the boss man and being the person who he is. One hell of a hustler for sure. He has to take accountability for his sloppy moves. He has to this is his fault. He's not being targeted by some random police force in a random place they don't have a dog in the fight. The only people who would have a reason to target him is Louisiana. Nobody else has a reason to want to get Boosie. It wouldn't even make sense for any of that. Boosie is where he's at because he don't want to grow up. He's where he at because he don't want to accept the fact that if you are the boss, people are looking at you for leadership. They're looking at you to make good decisions. If you're the person that's in charge, after a certain dollar amount, you shouldn't even be moving like a Z-list just trying to get out the mud, gotta pay a rapper nobody care about for a feature artist. But people don't want to, because it's easier to live in a fantasy and accept that it's always somebody else's fault when you're so used and accustomed to not taking responsibility. The biggest thing that you need to learn from this is, aside from not trusting people around you, is that you're always being watched. You cannot be a person of any type of notoriety in this day and age and think that you're not being watched by everyone. You're being watched by your enemies. You're being watched by the people who love you. You're being watched by all the federales. You're being watched by everyone. And to even be in a situation where I know that somebody's possibly going to be watching, they could have took a picture of the back of his shirt and it could have been a gun print, and that would have been able to set it off. We know that the police and anybody who's targeted, and if you on any type of paper situation that has to do with still being connected to owing a debt to the state, we know that these people are always watching. They make fake pages and start wars and start beefs and start all these things all the time. Boosie has to accept that. I mean, really, if he don't learn this time, it's probably just kind of over. As far as, it's like, bro, this dude don't never learn. This dude ain't gonna never clean up his act. He's never going to be in a situation where he's not fighting for his life. He needs to stop having all of these people around him that's so thirsty to be seen, so thirsty to have their name out, so thirsty to prove themselves, and actually start hiring professionals, actually start being around professionals. The difference between regular people and a professional, or an amateur and a professional, is there's a standard there. You should, like, he shouldn't even be in this situation. I'm gonna tell you for real, I thought this went away. I thought that they just like, okay, it was fake gun and it went away because it takes so long. And I feel like that should be illegal. Like, it should be illegal to drag these things out for years and years and years and years, and people's freedom is just hanging in the balance. It's like, my thing is, you saw a gun on live, you determined it was real, for however you did that. And that's a whole nother thing, because how did you know the firearm was real? It was tucked in his back, in the back of his pants. But I guess if any of the serial number was seen, they saw it like that. I don't have to be long-winded about it. It should be illegal to drag these things out. It should be illegal for something as simple as, he had a gun, he's not supposed to have a gun, we determined the gun is real, let's give him a sentence, let's give him his time, let's let him go. No, they want to keep you in court, and they want to drag you, and then they want to extort you, because that's what this is. This is extortion. They want to keep you in, drag you, extort you, take all your money, bankrupt you, so you can't build things for your children, so you can't enjoy the wealth you've acquired, so you can't do any of these things, because everybody else in the system makes money off of you thinking that I got to keep it so real, I got to keep it so street, they ain't gonna think, I don't trust nobody, and I can do it myself, and I'm still like this. That's how your ignorance is their payday, and it's gonna be their payday every single time. And that's your fault for falling for that. It's your fault for going for the banana in the tailpipe situation. It's not they trying to pull the black man. Like, no, nobody's trying to pull you down. You reap what you sow. When you act, there's a reaction. That's just it.
Nayimedward $, nigga. Nayimedward.